Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to look at the very first Calyrex cards we've ever seen. Except, they're not really Calyrex. Well, they are Calyrex, but they're not just Calyrex. We have got Ice Rider and Shadow Rider Calyrex. We've got two of them to look at. So let's have a good old look at them now. Now, one thing that needs to be stated super clearly right off the bat, this is not the Ice Rider and Shadow Rider Calyrex that you are going to be able to get in Sword and Shield 6, in Jet Black Poltergeist and Silver Lance. These are not what these cards are, ladies and gentlemen. These are in that special promo pack where you can pick it up over in Japan, and I almost pre-ordered these, and I didn't, and I feel a little sad because these are really kind of cool. But essentially, you get yourself a couple of packs, and then you get yourself, or two of each, two Jet Black Poltergeist, two Silver Lance, and then you get yourself one promo Pokemon V, one item card, one energy card, and a coin, which is kind of cool. So, we've got one of each. They are the first ones we've ever seen. Remember that the promos are generally a little bit worse than the ones in the main set. But we are going to have a gander, and it also is worth bearing in mind these are probably not going to be in Chilling Reign. They could be, it's absolutely possible that they are, but a general rule for cards like this is that they tend to come out as promo cards over here, so expect these to come out in some kind of promo set, in the same way that Japan got those Urshifu, the extra ones in addition to the ones in their main set, and they ended up coming out in their own boxes. So expect a similar thing coming along with Calyrex and Ice Rider and Shadow Rider and all of that in the future. Bearing in mind, these do come, the Urshifu boxes, with a Holo Energy as well. That would make an awful lot of sense if they did. So, starting off then, we need to have a gander at both of them. Our translations come from the lovely Tunu1223. Lovely person we haven't used for translations for a while, but now we have. And starting off with Shadow Rider Calyrex Fantaros, as I like to call it, that's a German name, we got 210 HP, which is honestly pretty standard for a Pokemon V. We got a retreat cost of 2, which does mean you have access to Air Balloon, which isn't too bad, means you can get out the active. We got a resistance to fighting, which is nice. We've got all of those fighting weak decks like Eternatus, plus of course, we've got stuff like Urshifu, and Rapid Strike Urshifu looks really good, so that is a nice resistance to have. And then we've got ourselves a weakness to darkness. And even a couple of weeks ago, I would have been like, well, it's not a great weakness. Your weak to Eternatus might not be ideal. But actually, Eternatus is kind of trash now that Urshifu and all these fighting decks are coming to fruition. So I would expect Eternatus to be a lot less good moving forward. So that's nice. So starting off then, we got one attack for a Psychic Energy, which lets you attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And we've seen plenty of attacks like this in the past, and every time I talk about them, I tell you basically the same thing. I don't like them. Because what you essentially do is you accelerate an energy to yourself in the active, and then you sit there waiting to take a hit. Well, that's not good. You're a 2-prize Pokemon. Now, okay, next turn, maybe. But honestly, about the only Pokemon I like this on is Single Strike Urshifu. But Single Strike Urshifu is different. Because you see, Single Strike Urshifu attaches 2 energy and then can VMAX the following turn and hit for 270 damage. And if I've got an attack for 270 damage, and if I survive, I'm going up to 330 HP, now I can get on board. This one I don't love. Incidentally, we know that in Japan's equivalent of Chilling Reign, there is going to be a Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. As it stands at the moment, we haven't seen that, but we know for absolute certainty that we are going to get one. That is absolutely definitely going to happen, so maybe that will change my opinion on it. At the moment, I don't love this attack. Second attack, free energy, 130 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Well, I like attacks that stop them retreating. I like that you attack into something like a Crobat, for instance, because it is very unlikely that in your average deck, your opponent is going to be able to attack with a Crobat. They're either not going to be playing the right energy, or even if they are, it's 2 energy attachments, and most of the time you can boss's orders a Crobat into the active, knowing that your opponent isn't going to be able to get it out the active, and you're essentially going to get a 2-hit knockout. And that's fine, that will work. But come on. I don't know how much I can really get on board with this, because it's just, we play so many switching cards nowadays. So many switching cards. And this is rarely going to stick, and then you're stuck with free energy 130. Sure, if you're hitting weakness, you'll get Urshifu, but you won't get Urshifu V Max. And you're actually 10 damage away from getting Mewtwo and Mew. Although this will be coming out very close to the rotation. So you need a Galarian Zigzagoon just to get a KO on a Mewtwo and Mew. So, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I just don't think I like this card very much at all. I don't like the first attack. I don't like the second attack. I don't think it's particularly good. This strikes me as a classic promo card. It's going to be in a box, it's going to be cool, it's going to be fun to go and buy that and get the guaranteed Pokemon V and all of that. But let's just say when it comes to playing Shadow Rider Calyrex, I am going to want a better version. I'm going to want something a little bit more. I think I'm going to give it between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I honestly cannot imagine me playing this unless the VMAX is really good and the other V is trash, and that's a lot to ask for. But maybe Ice Rider Calyrex can come in and save us here. Now, stats-wise, we've still got 210 HP, which is standard. Retreat cost of 2. We've got a weakness to Metal, which isn't as bad as it looks. Because on the one hand, yeah, you're weak to Zacian, but on the other hand, Zacian gets a straight one-hit KO anyway. And now that Moril's rotating out, what Metal Pokemon are going to really be taking advantage of your weakness? Not really many that we have in the format. And you are a water Pokemon, so now we're opening up Frostmoth for a bit of energy acceleration and hitting weakness on Center Scorch, and maybe this could work. Well, the first attack, 2 energy, 40 damage, plus 10 to each of your opponent's bench. And I don't hate this, but it's largely underwhelming. The 2 energy is quite nice. It means Frostmoth works. It also means you can go second and go Turbo Patch and then start using this immediately. It is a quick attack to get rolling, but I just look at this attack and I go, I just don't think it hits any good numbers. 10 damage is low. Spreading 10 is not very much at all. And don't get me wrong, it's better than not spreading 10, but it's really not getting you up to key numbers very quickly. And then 40 damage isn't even enough to get an opposing Snom. You'll be 10 damage away. And sure, if they don't evolve and then you get them to the bench, then they'll be KO'd by the residual damage, but this again just strikes me as a very underwhelming attack. I look at this and I just go, why? Like, what's the point? What am I really gaining from this? The fact of the matter is, the 10 damage to the bench isn't going to be enough, and the 40 damage to the active isn't going to be enough, and it's not a single energy attack, so I'm going to have to go through some hoops to use it turn 1 going second, and all of that adds up to what is, frankly, a very underwhelming card. Unless it can be saved by the second attack. Free energy, 140 damage. No, it can't. Now, this is slightly better than we saw on the Shadow Rider, because the tag team we want to get, Reshiram and Charizard, instead of being 10 damage short, you will be 10 damage over with weakness. But when we get to Center Scorch, we've still got KO on Center Scorch V, but whiffing on the V Max. You'll get single prize Pokemon. You'll 2-hit KO Vs, but you won't 2-hit KO V Maxes. And it's just not enough. And that's basically how I feel about both of these cards. Neither of the attacks on either of the card do quite enough. they're fine. And in sealed play, they could both be really good. And certainly, if you're playing around at League and you want a fun deck of a new Pokemon, absolutely these could be fun. But I'm giving this one 3 Wassies. It gets a slight bump because 140 is so much better than 130. It is a huge difference while tag teams are still around. But honestly, I don't think either of these cards are going to be particularly overwhelming. The great news is, of course, like I've said, these are our starter Pokemon. We are expecting these to be outclassed by the ones in the set proper. So hold on tight, ladies and gentlemen. Better days are coming. Man, I meant that about these Calyrex Vs. But in terms of the world as a whole right now, that's hopefully a very true statement as well. But I want to know what you think about these. I want to know if you think I've underrated them or whether, in fact, you think I've been a little bit fair, which is a little bit sad. Let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.